Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Welcome aboard to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is actually Thursday night, March 9th. And of course, you got Bob here. Luffy's in the house. How you guys doing?
I'm good. Just drinking some water and getting ready for spring for free agency next week for football. And of course, I gotta talk about some, hockey that's gonna be up and coming in the playoffs pretty soon.
I'm all right, I guess. I'm also drinking water, if you consider Bud Light water. And
there you go.
I might have hit my shatter pen way too hard. And when I drove home, I might have saw a couple of leprechauns along the way. But I made it.
There you go. Well, it could be worse. I was actually Luffy, I sent you a link earlier about the one guy who was in that standoff out in LA huffing nitrous. Like when he was
I went to watch it. I'm gonna watch it after, but I seen that you sent it,
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because originally he was like a DUI, and then he's still actually in a standoff right now too. So that's like 5 hours later and he's still hitting the nitrous tank.
Yeah, he's hired. Fuck, he doesn't care at this point.
Right, exactly. But in any case, I see Katie's in the chat. Hi, Katie. Hope you're doing good. And screw Boston, although we know Boston's the best team right now. But anyways, if you want to call 1999, yeah. Right. But anyways, if you guys want to give us a call, 929-205-6099 gets you on the air. We've got an hour. We'll make it count. And let's start off with hockey first tonight, actually, because there's been some moves that have happened over the last little bit. First, if anyone's wondering how the current Sabres game is going tonight, it's a disaster. Now, Jordan Greenway got his first goal, but Eric Comrie sucks. And we're losing 3-1 at the end of one.
Hey, luck only goes so far.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst year to not miss the playoffs, but at the same time, it's incredibly frustrating with just how close they are. But
I know, I get it, but I recommend not getting messed up in that fucking juggernaut situation that you'd be stuck in. But at the same time, obviously, we're that close, so you might as well make a push for it. It's not like you're getting the first overall pick anyways.
No, but they're definitely competitive enough to possibly get into the top three.
If the Lightning keep shit in the bed, yeah.
Well, the mighty Lightning have fallen, but it's only going to get worse from there for Tampa. That's for sure.
The weaker they get, the better it is for the Leafs.
Well, yeah, true.
Well, let's see what happens in April, because the Lightning play their best hockey in April.
Yeah, well, they better bring their A game this year, fuckers.
Right. And I did have to have a laugh earlier. Alex Nylander got sent down to the minors. So
yeah, remember that one time, Bobby? You said that Alex was better than William.
Yeah, I did at one point. I did say that Alex was going to be better than William because they were only 2 years apart, and it's pretty clear that Alex Nylander is a bust.
And insert foot into ass, then mouth, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's that. Listen, Alex Nylander's development in the NHL was just as disappointment as last night's dinner, which was Little Caesar's Pizza, which I've ever had for the first time.
Yeah, that's like garbage pizza.
Exactly.
That's like the worst stuff you can buy, literally.
Well, we don't have one down in my region, so I had to go down to another part of town and like another county for it to come down here, and it tastes like rubber. It was what the fuck do I do?
Right. Well, it was funny because when we were in Kansas City, you wanted to grab Little Caesars on the way back when we were coming from St. Louis, and your wife said no.
Yeah,
you should have listened to your wife.
Yeah, I do listen to my wife, but I was hangry at the time.
Yeah, and you were farting in the car too. So it's like literally we were getting a double dose of like angry and crap.
That's terrible.
Well, listen, whatever happened.
Open mouth, put foot in it.
I warned you.
Ass. But
You bag of
anyways,
ass.
but yeah, so Katie said she's doing good. Bruins are up 2-0. So I was like, okay, well, that's that. We know they're gonna probably
It's
win.
not like the Bruins to be on like a fucking 14-game winning streak or anything. Fuck off.
Yeah, and have like a 90+ goal differential or something.
Dude, they're
Oh,
so
100.
freaking good though. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
They're
they
so
are.
freaking good. They
Yeah.
might be better than the 2002 Red Wings.
They are better.
Yeah,
Well, they got to win the cup first.
better goaltender, better everything. So, and then Katie's like, "Sorry, love you guys." Well,
No
hey, we love
way.
you.
Hold on. Wait, did you really just say that Linus Ullmark was better than Dominic Hasek in 2002?
No, I said I'm gonna spin around Tom's comment and say Linus Ullmark's a mediocre fucking goalie with an amazing defense in front of him.
Well, that
That's
makes
all
more
he is.
sense. But I mean, the 2002 Red Wings is like nowhere near compatible to the Boston Bruins right now. But
Well, Hasek's a supreme goaltender. We know that.
And plus, he was like 5 foot tall, and he wore stupid goalie equipment and stupid helmets, and he still was a fucking stud.
Mhm.
somehow,
Yeah, he had like the oldest skull mask in the league.
And he had the weirdest fucking goalie style
Yep.
of any goalie I've
Good.
ever seen.
Yeah, could butterfly better than anybody.
Or
but
roll
to be
around.
fair, he also, I mean, he won 6 Vezinas and 2 cups. So
Yeah, and he literally
And-
could bend backwards like 900 degrees to make a save when he needed to.
And again, Dominic Hasek was amazing. He's an absolute Hall of Famer goalie, but at the same time, again, he had Detroit, and Detroit was a juggernaut in
Mhm.
defense, offense, and everything in those 3-4 years. So
Yeah, they were a stacked team. Hey, basically, it's kind of like what Boston's doing right now. And even Katie says, "Come on, Allmark's having a career season, but he's nowhere even close to a dominator." Well,
No.
I agree with you on that.
Allmark is a mediocre fucking goalie that looks good and looks amazing because he's on an amazing team. If anybody tries to tell me any different, I'm going to be like, you don't know what fucking hockey is. That guy is not a good goalie. He
Right.
is a mediocre piece of shit.
Right.
And he's only doing good because his team in front of him is really good.
Yeah, put him on the Sabres. He'll be just as bad as, or potential. Well, he won't be as bad as Comrie, but he won't be playing well. I'll tell you that.
You could put the backup goalie that beat Toronto a few years ago in net, and he would be a Vezina finalist.
Right.
what, Michael Hutchinson, your favorite goalie of all time?
No, the goalie that beat Toronto against Carolina that time.
Oh,
Zamboni
damn.
driver. Zamboni driver.
Ah, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, put
Yes,
him in there.
yes.
I bet you money he'd be a fucking Vezina finalist too.
Probably
He
would be.
probably would be. Jinx.
But in either case, yeah, tonight's Sabres game, not even worth watching. Like literally, Comrie just sucks. But there was actually some interesting moments in the game against the Islanders, and there's definitely some controversy of the goal versus no goal.
The call on the ice should have stood. It never should have been overturned. Even if it was the wrong call to make on the ice, the ref still made the call on the ice as no goal. It shouldn't have been no goal.
Right.
I could tell you from just being there in person, when I saw that live, as it was happening, I said to myself, in the stands, and because the crowd was going nuts, and they were all cheering, whatever, and all of a sudden, it was like waved off. It was originally waved off no goal, and we all figured, well, yeah, that's probably not going to count as a goal anyway, because it was a quote unquote distinct kicking motion. And the result of that review was so beyond bullshit on so many aspects. Like, I don't even know where to begin with that, because if you look back at the tape from Hudson Fashing from that game on Tuesday, you can literally see that his shin was moving forward as he was trying to get to the net. It's one thing to be standing in front of the net and not having any contact at all with and just moving. But if you look at his motions of his legs from within the shit down to where the puck hit, that shit went downhill from there.
Yeah, but unless there's a definitive kicking action, he could have been skating. The way he was skating, it kind of looked like he was skating backwards or sideways away from the puck. they could have looked at that and said, well, he was extending his leg and accidentally hit a shin pad. You know what I mean? But again, the call on the ice should trump what that fucking review is, because that is beyond stupid to me that you call a no goal on the ice and then they challenge it and then it's overturned. I don't think that should ever be a thing. The call on the ice should always stand.
I agree.
And then if it stands and the ref fucked up, well, he gets held accountable because he made the call.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree. And people were like saying in the comment section, with the Islanders, they're like, oh, if it's worth, reviewing a goal to save that sad ass franchise in quotation, which they're not. I mean, I like the Islanders, but in general, though, the way that game was prescribed was just so much bona fide bullshit that went into all that. And I just sat there at my seat at UBS Arena on Tuesday in despair, just like this. And I'm looking down and I'm saying to myself, yeah, their season's over. They're fucked. Because I know now, looking back at it, I think the team as itself was more deflated about the goal than we were. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah, well, if that's how you're gonna win games, it's pretty sad. But I don't think the Islanders are too hot shit, but they're definitely not the worst team in the league. That's for sure.
No, they're far from it. But all I'm saying is that I don't think the Islanders should have got any help from the refs at that point for making a call that's such a controversy. Because even if you look back into the NHL rule book a little while back, which I'll pull up while we're discussing this, because the way that it was prescribed was so bullshit on so many aspects. Like, I don't even know where to begin with that. Because for one, you're talking about something literally that just happens in instincts. And it says right here in Rule 78.51, it says, quote, when the puck has been directed, batted, or thrown into the net by an attacking player other than with a stick, when this occurs, if it is deemed to be done deliberately, then the decision shall be no goal. And a goal cannot be scored when the puck has been deliberately batted.
Sweet.
With any part of the
Okposo just
player's
went
body.
4-2. Sorry, Okposo just scored.
4-2?
Yeah, Dallas scored. It was 4-1 up until about 11 minutes left in the second.
Oh, good. Maybe they can actually do something with their fucking lives.
Yeah, Okposo from Paterka.
Because you know what also doesn't. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that the end result to it, you know what, the ref fucked up, and it maybe should have been called a goal on the ice. But again, how can a ref call a goal? Like, if he calls on the ice, whether he fucked up or not, and then you realize after, oh shit, I fucked up, and it wasn't a distinct kicking motion, then the decision obviously goes to the upper room, or what you want to call it. It probably ends up going back to Toronto at some point. I'm sure they have a fucking an opinion on the goal and whatever else, but it just, if the call on the ice is a goal, unless you can definitively say there's no kicking motion involved, then it should have stood as no goal. But obviously NHL fucks up all the time, so
yeah, they fucked the Sabres over big time on that goal. And the crazy thing is
shit, and it looks like Dallas just scored again.
Game over. Turn that fucking game off. It's not even worth it.
Yeah, Ryan Suter.
Yeah, and guess what? If it makes it even feel any better, the Penguins are being the Islanders.
Well, they're about to do what some losing teams do: spend $30 million in upgrades in a new arena, including a big ass new scoreboard.
Yeah, you know what? If I'm the Sabres at this point, I would just give up, because if they're that deflated and they're getting killed by Dallas, I mean, I know that the season is not over yet when there's still like 19 games left to go or 18 games left to go after tonight. At this point, you're better off just tanking for the rest of the season and hoping vague that something happens. And I know that's a loser's mentality, but that one game on Tuesday could have make it or break it for the Sabres. And thanks to Columbus for blowing it, a 4-0 fucking lead in the middle of the game, and Pittsburgh comes back and wins. That doesn't help.
Yeah, it's like 7-4 or something crazy. It would have finished out.
It was, yeah. The most that people can give is 12-5-1. That's the record that they're gonna have to get in order for the Sabres to make the playoffs. And the next thing too, that's a problem is that they play the Rangers on Saturday, they play the Leafs on Monday, and I think they play the Capitals.
Yeah, and the Rangers got a lot tougher.
Oh,
did.
you don't want to play the Leafs either.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It honestly does not help where the Sabres stand. As much as I would like for them to make the playoffs, I understand because some people get attached to the players and they get attached to the team. I'm at that point now where I'm not even acting like a sore loser. I'm kind of just looking at it and saying, you know what? This team is young. They're going to be good for a long time. Let it play the season out. And then when you're ready, get through the playoffs and then get through the draft, possibly getting a top 3 pick and, go into free agency, and you're going to attract a lot of teams that will want to come play with you in the future with how talented they are.
You're trashing the season when there's still a quarter of a season left. So anything can fucking happen. Anything can happen.
Right. 19 games is 19 games.
If you look at the wild card race, dude, like in that division, like it's neck and neck, and then Tampa Bay is following slowly but surely. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm assuming if they get bumped out of their spot, they'll go into a wild card spot. They're not getting bumped out of a wild card spot, but
yeah,
there's always hope that they topple down in dominoes and the Leafs come in and sweep them. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Adam. I have the remaining schedule for the Sabres. This is legitimately the rest of their schedule. They have the Rangers on Saturday, the Leafs on Monday.
Wait. I want to pick win for win. I want to pick, and you when it's all over with, you're gonna tell me if I'm right. Okay.
Okay.
Every win, I'm gonna tell you which game you're gonna win, which one you're gonna lose.
All right, here we go. First one is on Saturday versus the Rangers.
Win.
Monday against the Leafs.
Loss.
Wednesday against the Capitals.
I'll say a win.
Friday against the Flyers next week.
Should win.
Okay. March 19th against the Bruins.
I'm sorry, but that's a loss.
That's what I'm saying. March 21st against Nashville.
Nashville win.
March 24th versus New Jersey.
I'll say shootout. I'll say overtime loss.
March
Jersey's a tough
25th.
team.
March 25th against the Islanders. I'll be at that game.
Okay, you'll win that one.
Hopefully. March 27th against the Canadiens.
Win.
March 31st versus the Rangers.
Loss. Yeah, that's a loss.
April 1st versus the Flyers. April Fool's Day.
Win.
April 4th versus Florida.
Win.
April 6th versus the Red Wings.
You win in overtime.
Okay. April 8th versus the Hurricanes.
Oof. That's a loss.
April 10th versus the Rangers.
Win.
Wait, did I skip one? I think I did. Did I ask you about the Hurricanes game?
Yeah.
Okay. April 11th versus the Devils.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You guys have a fucking bad schedule.
Yeah,
You're
no
right.
shit, Sherlock. Yeah, no fucking shit. This is what I was talking about.
Jersey again, eh? Oh, fuck. I gotta say loss.
And Jersey's already had our number this year.
Yeah, and then there's two more. April 13th versus Ottawa. That's the last home game of the year.
That better be a win.
You should win that one.
And the last one is April 14th on the road against Columbus.
Win.
Yeah, so that's the remaining schedule for the Sabres moving forward.
So what was the tally?
Let's see. You said a win versus the Rangers, a loss versus the Leafs, a win versus the Caps. That's 2. You said a win against the Flyers, a loss versus the Bruins, a win against Nashville, back-to-back losses with the Islanders and the Devils, and then you said a win over the Canadians, a loss over the Rangers, another win over the Flyers. They lose to Florida. They beat Detroit. They lose to Carolina. They lose to the Rangers and the Devils, and they beat the Sens and they beat Columbus.
So that leaves you like not barely a 500 record in the last quarter.
Right.
What the fuck is this? Okay, never mind. I was reading something and kind of came into a pop-up. But no, this whole schedule is going to be such a mess. Like, I can't even go into it. Like, that's how bad it's going to be moving forward. So that's why I was saying that the Sabres should just give up their season, because Pittsburgh is probably going to win the majority of their cupcake schedule throughout the rest of their way, and go from there. Because Florida's not going to probably win tomorrow against Chicago.
I think the Leafs have a pretty not like easy schedule, but I feel like they have a lighter schedule the rest of the season.
Right.
Yeah, and at some point I read the Sabres had the third easiest schedule in the league, or the third toughest schedule. And I'm just saying to myself, oh joy, I can't wait to watch the Sabres get killed by all these teams.
Well, Jesus Christ. Anybody that plays in the fucking East is going to have a tough schedule. I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, considering that the Sabres are in the toughest division in the league. I mean, you have Tampa, Boston, Toronto, soon to be Ottawa in the near future. Buffalo could be up there. Detroit might make some noise. So really, it's a giant clusterfuck.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse.
Yep, very true. But yeah, right now it's 6:25 in a second. It's still 5-2. So that's where we're at right now. But of course, if you guys want to jump in and give us a call, 92920560099. There was some other news that also came out in the NHL this week, and it's talk about expansion. And here's like what we're looking at right now. So a team returning to Atlanta for the third time,
No,
and a team to Houston.
Don't even want to hear this fucking bullshit. You know why? Because it's such a slap in the face to any Canadian hockey fan. It's our fucking game. You've already jumped over us 20 times now, over for fucking teams in the United States. I get it. More money in the States means more revenue for the NHL. But I can't understand how you think it's better to go back to Atlanta for the third fucking time. Like it's going to be change something.
Right.
Still a shit fucking franchise, shit fucking city, shit everything. And then you're talking about going to Houston. Houston's not a hockey fucking place. Like what about Quebec? Where's Quebec?
I would love to see a team like Quebec Nordiques. I would love to see them back.
I would love to see
You'd have some great rivalries again.
I would prefer over fucking Atlanta. Burn back the Hartford Whalers. I don't know.
Them versus the Bruins. That was a natural rivalry.
Well, the only problem with Hartford is that the city is too small. I actually went there a few years ago, and I understand why they moved out of Hartford. And I actually got the chance to go see the old stadium where the Whalers played. It is literally in the middle of a fucking mall. I'm not even joking.
I was gonna say that it was like part of a mall, but at the same time, Quebec has an NHL ready arena. They've had one for several years. They sell out like 19,000 plus for Quebec Major Junior Hockey. What does that tell you?
It tells you that there's a massive hockey market.
Exactly. Yeah. And Bettman's too freaking stupid to realize that.
Well, another thing that I would also suggest why Houston might potentially get a team is because the owner, I forget his name, he owns the Houston Rockets in the NBA, has been talking for years about putting a team in Houston because Toyota Center is literally a building that's designed for the sport, like American Airlines Arena or American Airlines Center in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the stars there, so why the fuck not? I'm not saying that it's a bad idea to put a team in Houston, but I would rather put a team in Quebec City first than I would put a team in Houston or in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I get it. Like there is a market for it there. I get it.
Yeah, it's a better market than Atlanta is.
But when is it? Other than like when you gave us back the Jets, which was a gimme anyway. Like, when are you going to give us back the Nordiques? Because that's what everybody wants. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That's what everybody wants.
Like anyone who's followed hockey for any extended length of time knows how important the Quebec Nordiques were to the league. And you look at the rivalries. I mean, who could ever forget the Nordiques and the Habs?
Oh yeah.
Those were massacre games. I mean, those were games you wanted to turn in and watch. And then, of course, they had the infamous game known as the Massacre, where there was like over like 2 hours worth of misconduct penalties and ejections thrown in.
Yeah, the Good Friday Massacre.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a classic. I wish I'd see more games with passion like that again. Hockey would be a great thing again.
Yeah, or the time that Rob Ray went into the stands in Quebec and beat the shit out of a fan.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know
Remember
what?
that
Though?
time
I think the league will go back to its routes eventually, within going back to Quebec City. But I think it'll only happen after Gary Bettman retires. Maybe Bill Daley, if he were to become commissioner, I think he would be very open to the idea of putting a team in Quebec City. But maybe, and this is just a theory, and I'm just I'm just thinking hypothetically, is if they were to put a team in Atlanta, do you think that even if they do so horribly after the first time around or the second time, whatever it was, do you think if they're so financially bad, you think they would consider using Quebec City as leverage to try to persuade them to move them from Atlanta to Quebec City?
I think Bettman will do everything to prevent that happening. Look at what he did to Arizona with a 30-year lease.
Bettman wants all of his babies, and his babies are fucking Vegas is number one baby. That's his cash cow.
Yeah, Seattle's like number 2.
And in Seattle, and you can't tell me it's not biased towards the U.S. fucking cities, because it is. It's fucking super biased.
Well, I mean, you're bringing in more.
It doesn't matter. Look, where's the fan base at? Where's half of your fucking players on every NHL team from?
Right.
They're
all
from
Canada.
Okay.
And then look, another 25% from Russia or any of the European countries.
Please tell me an amount of how many Canadian players in the Hockey Hall of Fame compared to U.S. players, please.
Well, I mean, look, I think Canadian players deserve the recognition, and they rightfully do, because there's a lot of great Canadian players in the NHL, and they rightfully deserve to where they are. Mm-hmm. But American players as well are also on the rise, so there's a lot of, and it's happening too in the NBA. I mean, granted, I don't watch it, but I know what's happening. Is that
you compare NBA to NHL?
No. Listen. Just hear me out. What I'm saying is that the NBA is starting to rise in population among Canadian people. That's from within the, from the Great White North. Yeah. They're literally bringing in people to the United States to play, American basketball. Right. And the same could be said here in the Americas with the NHL. There's players like Austin Matthews is a good example. He's from Arizona. He's from the United States, and yet he's going over and he's playing in the biggest Canadian market in the world to play, professional hockey. So to grow the sport in Canada, not only just in Canada, but in the United States, is huge. Because I think for diversity, it takes a huge factor. Because if there was let's just say minorities in Canada and the US, which could definitely happen in both areas, it could grow the sport either way. But it's who you put yourself around with that's going to help you develop the sport. It has nothing really to do with the country. It's about the people and the passion that goes with it.
As I say, when you mentioned that NBA comparison, just remember Vancouver lost their team to Memphis.
Right, but there's a lot of Canadian players. I think the most famous one I can think of on the top of my head is a guy named Andrew Wiggins, if I remember his name. He was from Canada or something like that. Part of
Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve Nash. That's another one.
Played with San Antonio for a lot of years.
Yeah, Steve Nash, Andrew Wiggins. And there's a couple of Canadian kids in there too that are currently in the NBA, because I can't really think of them as I don't watch it. But I know for a fact that I think 2/4 of the NBA now are either non-Americans or, in other parts of the country. You have people from New Zealand and Australia, Canada, China, any part of the world. You could find talent in those leagues, and you could just throw them in there like a blender. Right. It could definitely happen.
They had Yao Ming for Houston. He played all those years there until he had to retire because of injuries. But Yao Ming did a lot to promote the game, and it was actually pretty cool to watch. I mean, so we had him.
And he was taller than Shaq, which is
he was 7'6" or something.
Yeah, Yao Ming was huge. That was.
And he could shoot the ball, unlike Shaq. I mean, Yao Ming could actually shoot a 3-pointer.
Well, he didn't know how to jump. He just fucking put it in the net.
Yeah, and he could dunk on top of Shaq, so there was that. But yeah, it's just crazy to see some of the different things that are going on. And It actually, since we're talking basketball for a moment too, there was actually a big story that came out, especially with college basketball. Jim Boeheim, the longtime coach of the Syracuse Orangemen, well, now they call it the Syracuse Orange, but well, because they had to get politically correct. But
Man.
yeah, 47 seasons. He is hanging it up.
Oh wow,
Oh my
congrats.
God.
Well, he was basically forced out because Syracuse sucks this year. So
Well,
his
either
longtime
way,
assistant is going to take over, but I think it's like Arvin Gentry, but longtime assistant also played for Boeheim back in the 90s. And Syracuse, they just keep thinking we're the powerhouse of the Big East. Well, they're not part of the Big East Conference anymore. They moved to the ACC. They're playing with the big dogs now. They got to revamp that team, and Boeheim is not adjusted well to the Big East, well, to the ACC. But to Boeheim's credit, though, I mean, to get in the playoffs over 30 times out of 47 seasons and to win the NCAA title in 2003 with Carmelo Anthony before he went into the big leagues. And then, of course, Carmelo Anthony ended up being a bust because he's been on at least like 5 different teams. But
Carmelo was not a bust. I'll tell you that right now.
he wasn't as good as he should have been.
What do you mean? He was on the fucking Knicks. He
sucked on the Knicks. He did like virtually nothing with the Knicks. He was Dolan gave him nothing.
The Knicks had like their worst seasons when Carmelo Anthony was on their team.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Jackson did nothing with the Knicks. What does that tell you? A championship coach, and he couldn't even get the Knicks to turn around.
Well, because you know what it is? Phil Jackson is, as I know the name, Phil Jackson, but I remember people talking about him when he came to the Knicks as like an executive or something like that, whatever position he was. And he was talking about my triangle and this triangle offense with like, Carmelo and then Derrick Rose when he was with the Knicks and then a bunch of other people like that. Some crazy.
Yeah, like, triangle offense that he ran with Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, all those guys over there. I mean, they won so many titles with them. I mean,
but those are all legendary basketball players.
But here's the thing: Dolan, who owns the Knicks, couldn't get them the talent that they needed, and he couldn't even do it with Carmelo Anthony. He kept trying to go after LeBron James all those years when he went to Miami instead.
Yeah, I know that. But here's the thing, though: James Dolan runs the Rangers as well, and you know what's very funny about James Dolan is that he always talks about the Knicks being a championship caliber team, and that's why they're so
far
mediocre.
from it.
Yeah, and then look at the Rangers. He doesn't even touch the Rangers, and they're so successful.
Right. Well, here's a perfect example. Why do you think the Bills and the Sabres are finally going in the right direction? Because Pagula is finally keeping his hands off of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's just one of those things because I remember with the Knicks, I mean, and I used to watch a ton of Knicks games when I was younger, but it's just a lot of it became so unwatchable because they just kept screwing the pooch in terms of the talent. And then, of course, once Phil Jackson got shown the door, then he put his longtime assistant Byron Scott in there. He couldn't do anything. So then even I think they went to Tom Thibodeau, the former Chicago coach who got ousted out of there, and he should have never been ousted, but things happen. The Knicks just haven't been able to find a way to do it.
No.
Let's talk about pussy sport. Let's go back to real sports.
Yeah, there's actually another good thing that came out too. New Era might actually be an NHL sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot to uncover, and we're about to get to the good stuff with football coming up pretty soon with free agency.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot to uncover. I don't know where Adam has been or have you been, Tom, but there was a lot of shit that happened throughout the day today. Even though free agency, the tampering, bargaining frenzy, whatever you want to call it, doesn't start till Monday, which I'm excited for, honestly. I mean, I kind of hate the process, but it kind of gives away what teams do within that time frame. It's like you could go out and get like OBJ and he could like sign with the Cowboys or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he could sign like a 5-year deal for like 70 something million.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
The one thing I like today is that I've seen that the odds are out from Vegas about who's gonna trade up for number 1, and luckily enough, the Panthers are minus 125 to be number 1 at the draft. Straight up.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Adam, because I just want to ask you hypothetically, like I really do hope the Panthers get the pick, and I hope that they get what they deserve because I think they got a very good team coming up. But my question to you is do you think like what should the Panthers give up in a trade if they were to get the first overall pick?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't. I'm kind of confused as to what it would take to get from 9th to 1st. And obviously they're gonna have to trade the Bears to get that first. I don't know. I really don't. I did have to give up a whole shitload, I'm sure. But I'm not saying that the Panthers don't have the assets to give up. I'm just saying that I don't know. I don't want to see what I think's gonna happen
Which is
is them getting rid of Spider-Man.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of Burns. I don't see that happening. They might give up like a ransom of picks, maybe like this year's first rounder and then next year's first rounder and a couple of middle round picks.
It's gonna be like 2 or 3 first rounders and then a couple mid-round picks. But again, I'd be okay with that if we get what we need, which is we need that quarterback. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like that's what we need.
Right.
There's not another position that's more dire to us than getting that franchise QB. That's what we need.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
you're
good old
definitely-
Danny DeVito's in the house, and he's appropriately going by the name Eric Comrie sucks because that is true.
And he's also dressed up like the Emperor from Star Wars.
It's called a hoodie, dipshit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
Darth
know,
Vader.
Sherlock.
What's going on?
Not
Yeah,
much.
not much,
What's
man.
going on?
Oh, just watching this atrocity of a hockey game.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be a little bit worse. Could have an actual fucking goalie that can save a puck.
Oh, you should have put old man Anderson in.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Well,
He
I
did
mean,
all
I
that
kind of
then.
wish Luukkonen was in, but they've already used him in the Islander game. So either way, it is what it is. But
It's okay for him to start more than one game. What kind of pussies you're raising over there?
Vasilevsky. Well, I mean, I wish that was the case, but
Yeah, Bailey Kashik back in the day played like 30 games straight.
Jesus, even now, people play 3-4 games straight.
well, Marty Brodeur used to play like 10 in a row or something like that.
Right.
You play goalies
Yeah,
longer
that's
than
the
that.
point.
They just want to do that stupid rotation of 3, and it's annoying.
Right.
It's
It's not
kind of
worth
like it's almost as annoying as fucking Keith when he fucking every game's a different lineup. Every game can't just keep the same 2 players together.
Yeah. I never understood the point of Keith doing that.
He does it every game, but it's not. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. But Jesus Christ, how are you supposed to fucking gel with your teammates? You keep fucking switching everyone around all the fucking time.
Exactly.
It just doesn't work. I never understood that. But some coaches have a different mentality, based on, scheme and system and whatever. I don't know. I think some coaches are a little too conservative, especially with how they mesh up their lines.
Yeah. Well, with the Leafs, it's not so bad because you still have 3 lines that are going to contribute either way. Someone on that one of those lines is going to contribute. So it's not like switching all these lines is going to be dire straits and everyone's going to fucking crash and burn. But
Yeah.
it's just annoying when you see Matthews and Marner together in one game, and then all of a sudden it's like Matthews is on the second and Marner's back on the first, and then it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse though. It could be, quarterback roulette in New York with the Jets. I mean, because they switch quarterbacks now every 2 years. 1 year with Sam Darnold, another year with Zach Wilson, and this year is apparently fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they did have that long ass
Fuck Aaron
meeting with
Rodgers.
Woody Johnson in California this past week that was like at least 12 hours long.
12 hours to talk to one guy. Are the Jets that fucking desperate?
Yeah, they are.
They're that desperate. I mean,
Uh-huh.
and now it's getting to a point where Aaron Rodgers has one of 3 options. Either he stays in Green Bay, or he goes to the Jets, or he retires. And that's weeks after this whole darkness retreat bullshit that he did a few weeks ago. But I think the longer
He
this
got high
drags,
on mushrooms. He got high on mushrooms, and he's so scared he's tripping out. So he's like, "I'm just gonna go out in the basement and stay here for 4 days."
Right.
yeah, apparently,
Oh, man.
and it could
Yeah.
be something. And it could be something like, "Oh, guys, I made my decision," and people are like, "Well, what is it? Hurry up, tell us what it is." Oh, I don't know. And then he just keeps going on and on. It feels like to me that he's just looking for attention because that's how much of a prima donna Aaron Rodgers is.
Well,
And
remember he's done it the last several years with Green Bay. He keeps saying, "Oh, I'm not going to come back. I'm not going to come back," and then at the last minute, "Oh, I'm back."
yeah, really. Because it's like at this point on, he's such a prima donna and he just speculates and speculates what he's gonna do. It's fucking annoying. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm possibly willing to open the idea of playing for the goddamn Jets. You know what? You want to know something, boys? You know who the last quarterback that played for the Packers that went to the Jets and rotted? Fucking Brett Favre. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's suing Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee for reporting the news.
Yeah, I saw that. Well,
let it happen. Let the Jets crash and burn while he fucking gets high as fuck and doesn't know where he is the whole game.
Exactly.
you know what? Nothing would make me happier than the Jets crashing and burning. Honestly, nothing would make me happier.
Yeah. I will say one thing though, it's like listening to McAfee's show today, it was hilarious because he had Pac-Man Jones like totally cutting promos on her all afternoon. But then he also had Dana White from the UFC come on, and Dana White was just totally destroying everybody.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And then
Talking about all of Fight Island and everything.
yeah. And my cousin is supposed to be fighting in Fight Island in a few months, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
And the other thing the Jets did today too was they made that. I don't know if you saw this, Tom.
Yeah, Chuck Clark.
Yeah, they traded for Chuck Clark from the Baltimore Ravens, and they gave up a 2024 7th round pick for his rights, and now they're gonna pay him a shitload of money. And you don't want to know something? To my surprise, a lot of people in this area had no fucking clue who Chuck Clark was, and it's like, really, the Jets traded for him? And I'm like, dude, it's Chuck Clark. They thought it was Aaron Rodgers, and then when they found out it was Chuck Clark, it's like, well, that's not what I wanted.
Right. Yep. Veteran safety. And it's funny because in New York Post today, they actually the first sentence in their article with the Jets trading for Raven safety Chuck Clark, it says, quote, "The Jets made a trade on Thursday, just not the one the NFL world is waiting for." So what does that tell you?
They thought they were getting Aaron Rodgers?
Well, yeah, because everybody thought, because when they said, "Oh, the Jets made a trade," everybody immediately thought that that it was going to be Aaron Rodgers, because that's like the two hot words were Jets and trade. And Adam Schefter went on Twitter this morning, and he's like, "The Jets have made a trade. ... And then 2 minutes later was Chuck Clark to the New York Jets, and people were like, "That's not Aaron Rodgers."
Oh my god, I can't believe they're hoping for Aaron Rodgers.
I hope it falls through, honestly, because then it shows how stupid they were with when they went for Nate Hackett.
I just love how the fan base is so sad and pathetic that they're like, "Oh my god, we might have got Aaron Rodgers, and that's a good thing." Like, Jesus Christ, are they as high as Aaron Rodgers is, or
yeah, doing the shrooms.
And you know what? They're so fucking delusional. Did you hear about the story about Derek Carr that happened with the Jets lately, Adam?
Yeah, I fucking heard. You know what? I heard one. It was a Twitter account. I seen this meme, and it was an actual Jets fan, and they're like, "Oh my god, we met with Derek Carr today. Like, by the end of the day, the deal should be signed." And then right underneath, there was a Saints fan, and they're like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we just signed Derek Carr, and
he had like a 4-year deal.
He's like, and you know what funny? The funny thing is that the chick replied and is like, "Yeah, if Derek Carr is a Saint, I'm gonna jump off the bridge." He's like, "Well, let me videotape because you're about to jump off."
Right.
Oh my god! But
Have
no,
him jump off the Gothels. There you go.
it's like Jesus fucking Christ.
And what was pretty bummed. I it's not that I wanted Derek Carr, but I kind of did, because I feel like if they got Derek Carr, it would have pushed fucking piece of shit fucking name not to be said out the fucking door.
Yeah.
And then you would have had a great quarterback to fucking mentor a quarterback like Richardson through the rank.
Sure.
Right.
But no, it was so bad with the whole thing with Derek Carr and the Jets that the Jets straight up told him that if you come play for the Jets, you're A, going to guarantee them a Super Bowl, and B, you're going to be a first ballot Hall of
Famer. You know what? Your career's not going to go anywhere, but I swear to God, we'll pay the amount of money that needs to be get you a ballot for the fucking Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Then of course we had the news this week. Daniel Jones got extended, and he got some actual serious money.
Oh my God.
I told you he was going to get paid. They had no choice but to pay him. So
Yeah, 40 times 4.
I mean, 4 years, 160 mil with 94 million guaranteed. That's a hefty price.
Right?
That's
I don't-
40
you know
million
what?
per year.
Everybody fucking hates on Daniel Jones, but I really don't think he's that fucking bad. I don't think he's that bad at all. I don't think he's like that bad that he shouldn't have got a contract. I don't think he should have got the contract he got. But if anything, I would like hung on to him like 1-2 years and see how it played out. And then once you lose Saquon Barkley and those guys, then see how he fucking works out. But
Yeah. And here's the scary part. This dude is making more money right now as we speak than Derek Carr.
yeah, that's what I mean though. But
Yeah.
like, what were they supposed to do?
What they
Yeah.
could have done was they could have given him less money, but the problem was Daniel Jones really believes that he's somehow in the elite status of Josh Allen,
know-
Patrick Mahomes, and
Oh,
Joe
he ain't
Burrow.
elite.
You know who fucking ruined that for every quarterback in the fucking league? And his name is Deshaun Watson. And that's the
Right.
reason Lamar Jackson's in the fucking predicament he's in right now, because he knows he's worth actual money. But Deshaun Watson's like, you know what? Fucking give me like 350 million and
Mhm.
guarantee me like 193. And
Right.
I'll come out of fucking suspension and I'll play like an absolute piece of garbage.
Mhm. And that's
Yeah.
what happens. He sucks, which is hilarious because now with Lamar Jackson, he got the non-exclusive franchise tag, so he can seek offers from other teams, which we know that'll happen. And we know that some team will pay him at 200 million guaranteed.
Oh fuck, he's gonna go for like 400 mil.
Oh,
Guarantee
yeah.
you. He's gonna go 400 mil, like at least 200 fucking guaranteed. I
Yeah.
fucking mark my words right now.
Right. And the Ravens only wanted to give him like, what was it, like 15 or something guaranteed or something like
No,
that?
I think it was like maybe like 4 or 5 years at max to like maybe
It wasn't
200
a bad
million at
contract.
most.
It wasn't a bad contract, but Deshaun Watson, thanks for setting the bar way fucked up high.
Right.
Because now Lamar Jackson's like, I want money. I want everybody else's contracts. I want their money as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking the Cleveland executives were probably huffing the nitrous tank like that guy in the standoff in LA is doing right now.
Yeah, and they were probably like bumping their chests like
Right,
this
high
when
as
they
hell.
got him. Yeah, I mean, you have to seriously be a bunch of fucking idiots to not only pay Deshaun Watson the price that he was worth at the time, but also giving up 3 first-round picks, which was basically the entire farm for one guy who hasn't even played football at that time for an entire year.
Right. And he played
Then
like
he comes
ass
in-
right when he came in.
Then he comes in and he made fucking Teddy Bridgewater look great.
Basically, it's pathetic. I mean, I don't know what's more embarrassing. The fact that Lamar Jackson is like legit willing to leave the Ravens for more money, or the fact the Jets are desperate for a 40-year-old quarterback.
Well,
I mean, at least the Ravens, I can see them in their
I
point, but
I kind of feel like Lamar Jackson's on the better end of the spectrum because I don't even the Jets fans. If you need help, there's numbers you can call. It's fucking sickening if you fucking think that's normal.
yeah.
So it's like, call the hotline at 1-800-GET-HELP.
Yeah, and when you call the line, you pick up and you go, "Stop being a Jets fan, you fucking idiot."
Right.
Fucking Jets, man.
Oh,
I can't stand them. Oh, and their fans are really annoying too, because every player they get, they think that it's amazing and it's going to turn them around like that. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, that's nice. You're going to be giving up assets for a 40-year-old quarterback. Your best
Well,
bet is to get Jimmy G at this point.
yeah,
Actually,
seriously.
speaking of Jimmy G, the Panthers actually looking at bringing in Jimmy G.
That'd be a nice little
God.
upgrade for him. I mean, Panthers actually had a pretty decent offseason so far.
Well, and well, I don't know. I just don't. I just want Sam Darnold to be gone. You know what? I'd fucking take PG Walker as my starter right now over him.
Right. Yeah, I was just saying, I think Andy just dropped off, but I was going to say he must be happy with San Francisco getting like 7 compensatory picks today.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Carolina.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for.
7 picks. Yeah, but no, the other big news that's coming out, and we only have like about 10 minutes left, but Jordan Poyer and Tremaine Edmunds are probably going to be gone based on some of the cap issues. And honestly, I mean, Poyer, yes, he would be a loss. I would like to try and keep him, but we can go younger. Edmunds, he just didn't develop the way he should have.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is my saying, and I'm going to say one thing to Bills Nation. Please, for the love of God, solve the one problem that you have and go and get Derrick Henry. It doesn't matter what you have to give up. It's going to be worth it. You need a fucking running back that's not
Yes.
5'2" and 150 pounds soaking wet. You need a Derrick Henry.
I agree,
Very
100%.
true.
I would
Very
love
true.
to have Derrick Henry.
I mean, it would be nice to have that type of player because I mean, look at what Pittsburgh had with Jerome Bettis, like it's like 6'6", like 240 for like a build and everything. I mean, it was just one of those guys. He could just literally run through a brick wall and he'd take the ball to the house. And
I'm telling you now, Derrick Henry is by far the baddest fucking running back in the league, and I'm saying that over McCaffrey for the simple fact that Derrick Henry is a bigger individual. And he reminds me of Devontae Foreman, but like 100,000 times better.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and you give him any space to run, he's gonna just take off and
He's
turn the
so big,
afterburners on.
he still finds the fucking space. He's so big, but he still finds like smaller spaces than McCaffrey would find.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what just hit me? Imagine if the Bills get both Derrick Henry and they draft Bijan Robinson. Oh my God.
Ooh, and then you have Cook in the mix.
Oh my fucking God, dude. That
You'd
would
go
be
from one of the
insane.
worst running back tandems to one of the best like overnight.
Oh my God. It's insane. But I will say this though. Edmunds, I think, he demanded too much money. He wanted 15, 17 million
It's not
per
worth
year.
it.
It's not worth it. He's a number 2 linebacker. Matt Milano clearly showed his worth, and he got extended a year ago.
Yeah.
So, and his value is showing. He's gonna stay in Buffalo for a long time compared to Edmunds, who I like Edmunds. I think he's a good player. He's still young enough to be still in his prime.
Yeah, he's just inconsistent. That's the problem. And a lot of times he's blowing coverage.
And he also did not do. He didn't do himself any favors in the playoff game against the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. If we can even call it a playoff game with how bad that was.
That was just very demeaning, if that makes any sense. You're not paying him 15 fucking million just to be inconsistent. Not a chance.
No.
Hell, I'm even open to the idea of using Ed Oliver in a trade to get Derrick Henry.
I'd be okay with that because Oliver hasn't been that consistent either.
Me neither. And I know Brittany loves Ed Oliver, but I said to her earlier, Brandon Beane is not going to overpay for defensive pass rushers to be inconsistent in the playoffs because Von Miller is the only one right now, and Gregory Rousseau. Those two guys are the only ones worth a damn that are worth keeping around for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree on that. And Von Miller, he showed up. Before he blew the ACL out, he showed up, he played, he did everything he was supposed to. He's one of the true people on the defense that we can count on.
Mm-hmm.
But at Oliver, first round pick, he hasn't panned out.
No.
Time to let him go.
It's not worth it.
Right, exactly. And especially with how deep the draft is this year. I mean, there's a lot of players you can easily pick up first, second, third round that should develop and be people we can plug right in. Plus, there's free agency this year. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to be up for contracts, so we can always leverage that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, the Panthers are going to be in that position where they trade up for the first pick, like Adam wants to happen. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but I think if they trade up, they're going to take Bryce Young, not Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's definitely possible they could.
Get fucked.
Little Kyler Murray or little Bryce Young in this case.
I
But
want baby hands McGee. I want a fucking
Yeah.
I want a
Well,
fucking big Cam Newton.
right. Well, it's even funny too, because even some Pittsburgh fans are saying that with the quarterbacks in the draft this year, they should have never taken Pickett because of his hands.
well, he's got tiny ass hands. I mean, I
He's
remember
got
when the
smallest
Panthers
hands in the league.
I was gonna say, do you remember when the Panthers were in on Kenny Pickett?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just, oh my lord.
It's kind of funny looking back on this, and it's like, wow, there were some hit and misses in this draft. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it could be as bad as like, when Joe Mixon allegedly shot a child over the week.
Oh god, I remember seeing that story.
There goes the career.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, allegedly, but because some people are even saying it might not have been Joe Mixon who took the shot, but rather it was one of his buddies that was there. And I found out that the kid that got shot in the leg from the gun that was pointed from his house was that they were about 13 years old and they were playing with Nerf guns outside his yard. And they were saying, sources were claiming that the shots from the Nerf guns sounded exactly like an emulated revolver. And that's what triggered pretty much the shooting that happened because it was so loud. And they're just like bang. And then the kid got sent to the hospital. And they're now saying that that Joe Mixon was the one that took the shot. I mean, they could even say that he wasn't even in the room, but it did take place in his house.
Right.
Well,
But-
guilty by association.
Yeah, seriously, still happened on his property. He's still liable for it.
Yeah. So like I said, once again, allegedly that's possible, but who knows? But as far as this whole thing goes, I'm interested what the Bills do from here. Same with the Panthers, because the Panthers are going to have a lot of money to play with this year. And that's not even discussing the whole Sam Darnold contract thing, because they're going to probably let him go. Even though it was said last week that they were talking about an extension, they're going to probably let him go. And they're going to probably bring in someone with a little more experience, because there's a good handful of veteran, backups that are going to be available. And I think that Frank Reich is going to want to bring in someone that's not named Carson Wentz and go in and, bring in a reliable backup to help out with with whoever, what quarterback the Panthers possibly take in the draft.
Mhm.
I think Jimmy G is the only option at this point.
Right.
Well, we'll have to see, 'cause there's a good
missiles.
handful.
Yeah, I was gonna say that standoff finally ended in LA after they tear gassed that guy out of the truck after huffing all that nitrous
Damn.
for like 6 hours or however long it was. But anyways, yeah, the Sabres game still is a disgrace. And I just want to say sorry to Sophia and Alicia. I know you're at that game, and I'm sorry you're watching the half-ass effort.
Sorry, Sophia.
Yeah, but it was cool to see you guys yesterday. So that was awesome, and I'm glad we could make your day. So
She like her gift?
And I think
you
Tom.
did,
Yeah, she was there.
Oh, she like her gift?
yeah,
Like the box you gave her?
yeah, yeah. It sounded from all of us.
Sweet.
Yeah, she got Bill's hoodie, Bill Zuba's pants, like the Bills like socks to go with it. Threw in like Timmy hose, and they got dinner on me. So
Sweet.
yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time, and she can definitely dish out some good comebacks too. So that was pretty cool. She could definitely give Deza a run for her money. So.
Nice.
So that is that. But no, I just want to say that they're really cool people though. And, we're all, I could say on behalf of all of us, we're glad we could do that for them. So she had a treatment day yesterday. She's doing pretty well. And just, her morning sucked because she was in the hospital for part of it, but it worked out to be a good day in the end. So
Yeah.
all is good. But yeah, with that, I was gonna say we've already run the full hour. So any thoughts or anything that anyone would like to add before we wrap up for the night?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Just draft Richardson, please.
All right, cool. You got it. And with that, thanks for joining us again. We appreciate it as always. And of course, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you the next time.